All right, good morning. Welcome to the Youth Leadership Information Session 2023. My name is Shayla Ford. I serve as the Director of Leadership Programs at Focus St. Louis. I also have the awesome pleasure of serving as the Youth Leadership St. Louis Program Director. We're going to do a couple of introductions of our staff and our ambassadors, and then we will jump into more about the program. So I'm going to kick it over to Harlan Hodge for a quick introduction, and then we'll go to our student ambassadors. Harlan?
Thanks, Shayla. My name is Harlan Hodge. I am privileged to have been a part of the Focus Youth Leadership St. Louis program for, I think we're close to about 18 or 19 years. I'll do the math because I think at 20 we should have a celebration. I am an alumni, as Shayla has mentioned, of the program. It has impacted my life in so many ways, which is why I can't seem to step away from the experience. During the day, I work for the University of Health Science and Pharmacy here in St. Louis as a Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. But I have a long history of youth development here in the city of St. Louis. And so I can't wait to have this wonderful discussion with you all.
Thank you, Harlan. Let's introduce the other member of our team before we bring our ambassadors on for quick introductions. Kate, do you want to say hello?
Hi, I'm Kate Hanford. I just celebrated my 1 year work anniversary with Focus. Yay! It feels like longer, but I in a good way. I love working with the youth. I think they're just some of our best leaders. So this is a really great program to be engaged with, and I look forward to meeting more youth. Oh, we got more people. Okay.
Awesome. Why don't I start? We've got a duo, and then I'll go to our single in the screen. So Jacob and Jai, why don't you say hello and at least tell us where you're from, and if you remember when you graduated from the program, that would be great.
Hi, my name is Jai Caruso. I actually graduated from YLSL earlier last year. I'm currently now working on the Focus board, work with the finance committee, and also attend regular board meetings as well. I actually do remember graduation, like actually going through the entire program in general. It was a really good experience for me, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Jai. Jacob, how about you? A quick introduction. And don't give all the secrets away. We're going to have that in the interview section with you.
I'll try to keep some stuff. Good morning. My name's Jacob. We both go to Grand Center Arts Academy. I graduated last year. I think, it was a really great experience for me. I think it was super practical learning about how to be a leader instead of, I think in class and in school, you kind of grow up and you're like, be a leader, serve other people, care about other people. But it was really cool to go through YLSL and learn about what that actually means and how to listen to people and other stuff. Yeah.
Thank you, Jacob and Jai. Maya, why don't you come off the mute and say hello to us this morning?
Good morning. My name is Maya. I am currently a senior at Crossroads, and I was also in the YLSL in 2022. Fun fact, my sister did YLSL in 2019, so I got some YLSL blood in me already. And I think one of my favorite parts was kind of just getting to meet new people and get all of these different kind of connections that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten. So, yeah.
Thank you all for saying welcome and hello. I am going to go ahead, and you're going to hear from students shortly. I have a quick PowerPoint that I would like to share with you all so that you can get an idea of the nuts and bolts of the program. And then we will have an opportunity to hear from our students and then Q&A with the audience. So this is a picture of one of our program days, in-person opening retreat. And so you see the diversity of the students, you see everyone. This is like the second morning, so everyone's laid back and relaxed. Harlan, I don't know if you remember that, but like we had lots of fun times with students on overnight retreats. And so that's just great. Again, here's our team. It's Shayla, Harlan, and Kate. We're a mighty team of 3, and we get to serve and work with the youth in our program. Our program, agenda for today is just give you a quick overview of what youth leadership is, some of our demographics and outcomes from the previous year, and to answer any questions and to share with you next steps so that you know how can you get your students and or your organization involved. A little bit of background and history. Focus St. Louis added the Youth Leadership St. Louis program back in '89. And so Harlan went through one of the first cohorts. So he's been around even a little longer than what he stated. We're not trying to tell his age though. And it is an internationally recognized program. We typically bring together high school juniors from 25 different school and community partners around the region. And our sole purpose is to inform, connect, and prepare youth to become active change agents and leaders in their community, not when they become adults, but right now where they are. And so our program offers a very immersive, experiential education around civic issues that are important to our region. And another thing that we do is we help students really think about how do you solve the complex problems that are facing them or their campus or their community organization. And so they get to also work on action research. Harlan, I'm going to invite you in. Anything else you want to share about like the history and background of Youth Leadership St. Louis before we move on?
Yeah, I think that it's worth saying that Youth Leadership St. Louis is unlike any other leadership or development program in the region, especially when you start thinking about the times in which students from these kinds of schools typically come together. Usually when we have students from these various public high schools, private high schools, charter schools, community organizations, they're competing in some kind of competition. And Youth Leadership St. Louis is not a competition. We convene students to push each other to understand the challenges of our region, to understand themselves and as leaders in the region, and to create a collective vision for how they're going to shape and mold the region in their own image. And so it's a collaboration of these different schools and these different voices when they come together. And that's pretty unique.
It is. Thank you, Harlan. Thank you. What are some of the benefits of this program? And Harlan, feel free to jump in at any point. We have a few things. Deeper understanding of this region, its challenges and its opportunities and ways young people can get involved. Unparalleled exposure to the civic, business, and community leaders. Often we bring back focus trained leaders who happen to be leaders in various sectors in our community to talk about not only what it is they're working on and the mission of their various organizations, but often they're able to share their experience with our program as well. Our students are able to gain facilitation, communication, and teamwork skills so that they can have courageous conversations around difference, diversity, and equity. And then our students leave this program with enhanced and/or increased skills around collaboration, decision-making, strategic thinking, research, as well as many other skills. Just being able to build relationships and help create brave space and belonging for others is paramount in today's leadership world. And our students are learning and practicing this with us during our program. Again, those relationships are deep and lasting. I know Harlan, if you don't have to say names, but I know Harlan met someone in youth leadership and they still are friends to this day. And that's been over 20 plus years.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and full disclosure, I've got it on my title here. I am a youth leadership alum from 91. I started in 90. I was in the second class of Youth Leadership St. Louis. And during that time, it was a new and emerging program. It was a very small program, probably 20 or 30 students in the program. And it was very intensive. We got to know each other extremely well, formed really close relationships, and we'll have a chance to talk about this later. The spirit of Focus St. Louis has within it the desire to keep students, one, interested in our region and engaged in the problem solving of our region. And so I think my life is sort of typical of a Focus St. Louis alum. I graduated from high school, went away to college, came back to St. Louis, and have been invested in making the region a better place as a result of my experience with Focus St. Louis. You know, I'm much older now, but I'm still engaged civically in our region. I serve on the school board in this region. I'm heavily involved in developing young people and helping to make my region better by going to restaurants in our city, eating out, dining out, being a part of festivities. And that's just kind of what we do. And it's sort of ironic that I do that with at least 3 or 4 of the people who I graduated from Focus Youth Leadership with 30 years ago, right? It's kind of just what we do. You become more of a St. Louisan when you go through this experience.
Thank you for sharing that, Harlan. Some people might ask, well, we see the benefit to the students, but what about the program partners? What about the schools and the community organizations that get involved? And part of what you can expect as a benefit from the program is that you're raising the profile of your organization and or your school in our community and making an investment in young people and helping our region thrive. You're able through our program to supplement your students' learning experience, in particular for schools where the classroom is your primary learning environment. Focus St. Louis through Youth Leadership St. Louis really is using the community, as the classroom. And so taking them out of school or the 4 walls of that building and taking them into community is part of the experience, and learning about the issues in our community, again, challenges and opportunities. We're able to help those students build those skill sets. We often hear, in particular, the skill set of facilitation, that when schools or community organizations have challenges with youth or need someone to help facilitate hard conversations, our students are trained to do that. And often they call on youth leadership, current students and or graduates of the program to help the school facilitate conversation between youth, among their peers and or among the adults. And our young people are trained and skilled in that. And so that's another resource that they bring back, along with all that they learn and the individuals that they encounter. They are able to bring those resources back to each of the schools and or the community organizations, and those become part of your resource to the region as well. And so those are just a couple of the benefits that our partners get to have. When we think about civic issue education, there's so many things that we could focus on, and we have several different topics. And here's just a sample of a few things that we've talked about or continue to talk about, because they're challenges that our region is facing, and the individuals that are going to help us solve them are the young people in our program. So we have a Criminal Justice Day where we talk about perspectives of the justice system from youth, from judges, from prosecutors, lawyers, from individuals who have been involved with the justice system, from the side of being a victim and or from the side of having to interface with the criminal justice system. We've, Harlan, I'm going to let you talk about poverty and homelessness, but we've done some poverty simulations. We've also been at University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy to talk about mental health and wellness. Harlan, why don't you come into the conversation and tell us about those 2 topic days from your perspective and what students gain?
Yeah, it just happens that these are 2 as a matter of fact, all four of the topics that are listed here are really close to my heart and passion projects for me personally. I think that it's really important for citizens to understand the great challenges of our region. And so poverty and the less advantaged folks in our communities are very vulnerable. And we need to understand our opportunity, if not our responsibility, to the least of us in our community. And so it's really important for us to understand the impact of poverty for our region. And so, and it has been a part of our mission and our schedule to do a deep dive into what does poverty look like, what does it feel like, and what is our role as leaders to the less fortunate in our community. And so our partnership with St. Patrick's Center goes back 20 or 25 or 30 years, and they help us to understand that experience either through their clients or through poverty simulations, and giving students an opportunity to really reflect upon their own privilege, or even to share their own experiences in a safe space, but then to have an opportunity to talk with people who are experiencing challenges right now. So people who do not currently have a place to call home, people who are struggling on the verge of homelessness, right? And so we think that that's really important. In addition to that, in my role as a member of the faculty at the University of Health Science and Pharmacy, we know that there's a gap in healthcare, and it's a growing crisis now. Becomes even more clear since the pandemic of 2020. We realize that COVID has brought to light that we need all hands in on healthcare. And so our students have been at the forefront of understanding what it means to, one, take care of yourself, and then to take care of others through this experience. And so we have integrated, a regional perspective, providing a regional perspective on healthcare into youth leadership over the past 10 years or so that students begin to understand that there is a health crisis plaguing our nation. As we celebrate Dr. King this week, we know that later in his life, he said one of the greatest challenges facing America is the inequities in healthcare, and it is something that we all should be aware of. And so leaning into that understanding and how we can impact it and close the gap has been a part of our curriculum, and we want to continue to lean into that. And so we're really excited to be able to partner with the University of Health Sciences to be able to really be in a learning environment to sort of bridge that gap that exists.
Thank you.
And I think it should be said that mental health is also a very big topic for our students. And so they've had an opportunity to give their opinions about the kinds of things that they're interested in, the kind of things that they want to explore. And mental health and self-care is always at the top of their list.
Thank you for adding that, because I was going to add that too, that in addition to understand the crisis of health in our community and in our nation, we're also helping our young leaders understand the importance of mental wellness and health. And that if they're going to lead well, they have to be well. And so that starts with their own practices, and then really being able to take that back to school or the classroom or the community and really participate and show up in that way. So the picture down at the lower right at Harlan's University of Health Sciences and Pharmacists, the students were doing a yoga practice, right? And so part of that is just helping them not just talk about what the issues are, but the experiential part of learning, well, what does it mean to practice yoga, and a lot of other things that we do as well. The last picture that I just want to highlight is it's not just about what the issues are, but what is our responsibility as leaders in our community. And so we've partnered for a number of years with Nestle Purina to talk about social responsibility, and they've hosted us on their campus, which is one of the headquarters here in North America. And so it's just important that not only do we highlight the issues, but we talk about the responsibility of leaders in their community to serve and to address the issues. And so that's just another thing that it's worth highlighting. I'm going to move on. We do cover some other topics, but those are four that tend to be the mainstay in the program, and then we switch topics based on relevance. The last thing that I'll talk about before we share a couple of demographics and outcomes and then get to our students, because we really want to hear from them, is that through our program, we also work on action research projects with our students. And this year, we've done something a little different. And Harlan, I'm excited about what we did this year. As leaders, we also have to model what it means to pivot. And when you get new information, are you going to continue on the same trajectory, or are you going to pivot because you understand that your audience needs something different? So this year, we used open space technology to identify the issues of most importance to our students. And instead of them just being in their school or community groups, we said, whatever issue is tugging at your heart or you're interested in, we're going to create groups that are, intersected between all of the schools and community groups. So we've got students from all over in various groups talking about the issues of most importance to them. The other thing that we did this year was helping the students learn a new framework to solve solve problems innovatively and in an agile way. And that's something called strategic doing. And so it's been really fun to share a new framework with students who don't have kind of the background and baggage that sometimes adult leaders have around strategic planning or doing something different. And so I believe that we're planting a seed and giving new skill sets that these students will take with them as they go off to college and come back to our community and really help us solve some of the challenges that we're seeing in the region. So I'm excited about that. This is the program schedule. We won't go over that today. Some of you may be wondering, well, what about the demographics in the program? So here is a slide to help us to share that information. We're almost 50-50 male-female with a slightly increased number of female participants in the program based on last year's data. And then students by race, we have a very diverse representation of our region. And so that's important to us, that not just diversity by race, but diversity by social economic backgrounds, as well as thought and experience is important to us. And so we wanted to share that information with you. Lastly, and then we'll get to students. So I'm queuing you up, Harlan and the students. You may be wondering, well, what are some of the outcomes of the program? Last year, 84% of our students said that there was an increase in their communication skills. 82% said there was an increase in getting along with others and working in teams and building relationships. 80% said there was an increase in learning skills. And so for us, it's important that students are gaining the leadership and life skills of the 21st century that will help them be successful, not just now, but in the long term. I'm going to stop talking right now. And I want us to bring up our students in Harlan. I just had to share this slide though. These are some of the other alumni that you may or may not know who have graduated from our programs. And I just have to say, we have someone else on our team at Focus, Becky Rasmussen, who is also a graduate of youth leadership, the class of 1997. So on our team, which is a small and mighty team, there's 2 graduates from youth leadership. And then I'm a graduate of our women in leadership program. So our team are people who have gone through the programs and understand the importance of what Focus is offering and how we can show back up in community. Harlan, I'm going to turn it over to you so that you can talk to our ambassadors about their experience, what they've learned, and why they think it's a great opportunity for their peers in other schools and community settings to join the program.
Thanks, Shayla. As you guys know, the adults, we don't typically talk that much in our program. it really is an opportunity to hear your voices. And so we want to use the majority of our time, or the balance of our time, hearing from our students. And so with that being said, I'm going to ask Jacob this first question, right? You leaned into this a little bit already, and so I want you to expand upon it. So one of the objectives of Youth Leadership St. Louis is leadership development. How has your leadership, how have your leadership skills been developed by your experience in this program?
I think maybe one of the most important things that I learned about was actually listening. Like, I guess growing up in school, I've always sort of been like at the forefront of my class and always been able to help other people and tell other people what to do. So when I came to Focus St. Louis, what was it, 2 years ago in August, I sort of had that skill set in a sense, I guess. But at Focus, one of the things we did is go into small groups, and then we practiced just being an active listener and what that means. So we did it virtually over Zoom. So one of the things we learned is looking at the camera while you're listening, making sure that your eye contact is on the person, and then like asking thoughtful questions, asking why, and then I think like body posture too was really important. I think like yeah, I'm like blanking right now at the moment, but
No,
yeah.
that's good. So when you think about how has that impacted sort of your work? I mean, because at the core, I was just looking at sort of these skills that the workforce is looking for in recent graduates. And I spend most of my time in the college space, and they rank communication right at the top. And so listening is really a big part of that. How has your experience sort of prepared you for, we do this program in your junior year? Have you seen any benefits as you've gone into your senior year?
I think it's taught me to really value other people's opinions, because like a lot of the time I kind of feel like I have the right answer, or at least a good answer, and that's good enough to go with it. But I think that my experience at Focus has taught me that that's actually just not true. Other people are often going to have better ideas than me. And like because of that, I really do need to listen to people.
Love it, love it. Maya, this question is for you, since you're second, I guess it would be generation. At least you've got a little bit of a legacy here, since your sister graduated from the program, right? So another one of our goals in Focus Youth Leadership St. Louis is exposure. We want our students to understand the good, the bad, and the promising of our region. Can you describe an experience that you felt was most influential to you, and how has it shaped your view of the St. Louis region?
So I think one of my favorite session days was when one, criminal justice, because hearing from other people who have gone through the system from all different kinds of perspectives was very eye-opening. And also when we learned about the prison system, but within these, we kind of got to talk to other people in YLSL about what their opinions of these things were. So like Jacob was saying, kind of listening to other people's opinions, but it's different in YLSL, because like in like the real world, like if you have differing opinions, you're just debating. But I think youth leadership kind of teaches you to have less of a debate and more of a conversation, which I don't think is an experience that right now you can get very often. So it's definitely taught me personally to appreciate other people more, and just again like listen, but also be more aware that you have different opinions than other people, and like that's okay.
Maya, you're a student at Crossroads, college prep, probably one of the most diverse schools in our region. Talk to me a little bit about um, this idea of what's the value of coming to a Focus Youth Leadership St. Louis, right? As it sort of relates to exposure and diversity.
So I think it's really great how diverse of a community that Focus is, because like me, I'm very grateful that I go to a school that's diverse, and I'm the president of the Black Student Union, which is great because I get to work with all the people who are also part of the minority. But when you go to a place like Focus, even if you are the minority, you still have other people, and because it's so diverse, you're gonna be able to feel comfortable no matter where you are, who you're with. And that's something that's taken for granted a lot by some people. So it's just, I was very grateful to be able to see other people who have similar experiences as me, whether it's like color, background, where we live, stuff like that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Maya. All right, John, I'm coming to you, right? I am an advocate for belonging and connection. And as a recent graduate, I think I've heard you kind of lean into this a little bit too. Talk to us about relationships and the ones that you formed in Youth Leadership St. Louis.
Relationships. So there's actually a few that I'm still in contact with. So actually, I just came back from the Missouri Thespians Conference 2 weeks ago. And I just realized that somebody from youth leadership, my class, was there because they had posted something from the hotel across the street from where everything was. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that you were in the thespian troupe. So I was like, that's pretty cool. I didn't have a chance to meet up with her, but yeah, like just I like been able to keep like just base like general connections with just other people within youth leadership from my class. Yeah.
And even during the program, talk to us a little bit about why is that important? You know, we often talk about this opportunity to come together and be exposed to all of these things with a group of students. And as a board member, what would you tell people how would you describe the value of Youth Leadership St. Louis?
Describe the value. I would say me personally, I took youth leadership to the heart. I'll say it's really valuable. It really just gave me another perspective on leadership, especially since I work really close with leadership with student council and being vice president of our Black Lives Matter Association. So it gave me more perspective on how to improve as a leader and other ways to use my leaderships or other approaches within my leadership to help better with team building.
Love it. This is great. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do. Tell us where you're headed from now. What are your future plans? And leave us with a message, any advice, anything that you feel like our listeners should know about Youth Leadership St. Louis. You've got about 1 minute to do all of that. Who's going to start us out?
Oh boy. Maya, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I can. Wait, can you repeat the question really quickly? I think I have my answer,
so
but I need a refresher.
Tell us about you. What's in store for you? What are your plans moving forward? And your piece of advice or encouragement, what should people know about Youth Leadership St. Louis? So I'm a senior graduating and I'm going to University of Wisconsin-Platteville for volleyball, which I'm very excited about. Woohoo, Wisconsin. I think one of the most important aspects of youth leadership is just the connections that you're going to be able to make. And I know that that's been said a lot, but it's been said a lot because it's important. You're going to have this circle of new people that you didn't realize that you were going to be exposed to before, and they're going to be so incredibly useful for you to be able to work with them and listen to them and hear from them. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm Jacob again. I'm going to be going to Bowdoin College in Maine, and I'm going to be studying mathematics and education. And my goal is to be a high school math teacher in a public school. So I think like Focus St. Louis in the seminars where we talked about poverty and about education and opportunity, like deficits for minorities and people, especially in poor communities. That really like hit me hard because it's so true. And growing up in St. Louis on the West Side, it's something that I've experienced personally. So I think Focus really encouraged me that this really is an issue and something that I can tackle in my own city to benefit my own city. Yeah.
All right, so I haven't decided where I'm going for college yet, just because I'm still waiting for other college acceptances. But my ideal is to go to California and learn film and also learn computer engineering. I would say with Focus, it gave me more of an opportunity to learn more about myself and also learn about others as well. Because with learning about leadership and Focus, I'm not only learning other aspects of leaderships from the advisors and the host or whatever term you would prefer. I will also learn other aspects of leaderships from other students who also work in leadership. They will give examples of ways of what they do on how just to improve in certain areas.
Well, thank you all for making time to be with us today. As you guys know, they're in school and they've got a pretty strong, strict academic schedule. So thank you for joining us and sharing. I want to say this, and I take a little bit of a privilege as a Focus alum. I have always said that this is a great, if you really want people to be involved with the work of your organization, your company or your region, get them engaged early in solving those problems. And I'm a little selfish because I want all of you to go to college, do what you need to do, but also come back home and be a part of making St. Louis and this region what it needs to be in some kind of way. And if you choose not to come back to St. Louis, all of the communities around this country and around the world need your gift set. So stay involved, stay active in problem solving, being the solution of to a problem that you see in the world. And I think if you do that, we've been successful in this program. So thank you guys for engaging today and tomorrow. I'm going to turn it back over to Shayla.
Thank you. I just have to echo that. Thank you, Youth Leadership Ambassadors, for your time today and for making this an important investment to share your experience to help others understand the true benefit of this program and the experience that we don't give just while you're in the junior year, but that goes on and you carry that with you and it becomes part of how you lead and how you show up in community. So thank you very much. Now we want to open the floor to questions. So I'm going to ask our ambassadors to stay on because some questions, we might want to just float to you and have you respond to because you're here and you're leaders and you know how to respond to questions. So in the audience, if we have any questions, please come off mute and ask, or either drop it in the chat. We're kind of watching both so that you can learn, maybe what you want to learn from our students, or maybe there's some other pressing things that will help you to make that decision and come to yes, so that your students in your sphere of influence can also join Youth Leadership St. Louis.
Hi, I have a question. Just wanted to, maybe you guys will talk about this later, about the selection process. I'm trying to encourage my son to apply, but he has a lot of it going on, and football, etc. Just want to get a sense like how long the selection process is, where to start, those kind of things. Because I graduated from a Focus St. Louis leadership program, so I kind of know the setup. I assume the youth leadership is somewhat similar, and when I see the schedule, so I'm pretty comfortable and also very, very much in love with this kind of programs. That's why I'm trying to get him, interested. But he just probably still kind of on the fence right now. I just want to get a sense like the selection process, and also maybe from you guys' perspective, like I know you already talked about, but like from the scheduling perspective, is that challenging or is that totally manageable? Thank you.
Absolutely. Harlan, do you want to jump in and answer some of that, or do you want me to handle that one specifically about selection? What are your thoughts?
Why don't you get started and I'll fill in.
Okay, so in terms of selection process, our students are able to participate through a partnership through their school and or community organization, and specifically the community organizations just have an organized youth program. So Girl Scouts has been a long-term partner, the Soul Fisher Ministries, Refuge and Restoration Church, Vindu for Africa have been community organizations where they have youth groups already established and they're wanting them to participate. So it's part of being in a partner organization who is interested. And then from there, we provide the selection, like interview process and scoring rubric and all those things. And we ask each of the partners to interview and or select the students that will represent their team to the program. And then once that's done, then the focus team kind of takes over once we know who are the selected participants. And then we send the welcome packets, the schedules, and the team actually schedules the learning experience. And then our partners bring students to whatever that experience is. The partner also has to identify a leadership coach or an advisor that serves as the chaperone / coach during the program, and those advisors also attend the program with us. And so they're learning so that they can debrief further with students, help us coordinate getting students from their partner site to our site and back, as well as sometimes helping us to facilitate through something we call process observation. So that's part of that process. It's not lengthy. It's just a matter of students being interested in indicating that and then interviewing for the experience. Some schools, just to let you know, that are kind of first starting out may actually select their team and then integrate the interview process that next year, just so that they can get established and kind of get it going. Harlan, what did I miss about selection that might be important for Emily and others to know?
Yeah, I don't think you left out much at all. I just like to elaborate on the idea of the advisor. There are a couple of questions in the chat about kind of how do you get this up and going. There has to be a champion at your organization or school, someone who's really advocating for the value of this experience for young people, and that is willing to be a part of a long-term journey. Just in Shayla's description of even setting up the selection process, it takes a couple of years to sort of work out the kinks for how you want to put together a team and how to support the students' participation in the program. And in addition to that, we need someone at the school, typically an adult, who's going to be responsible for making sure that those students get to the program and debriefing with them afterwards about how what they've learned from it, and then promoting it inside of the school and to the school district. Most of our public high schools and even our charter school participants have a really strong relationship with their school boards. And so it is not uncommon for youth leadership students to be asked to present what they've learned, what they've been doing, and even their projects at their school board meetings. And so it becomes a real point of pride for the districts who participate in Youth Leadership St. Louis. But all of that comes from having a champion who's really going to push for the benefits of the program.
Thank you, Harlan. I'm gonna also, I typed it in the chat, but Tiffany had a question about the commitment and needing to, either sponsor, or what is the commitment? And so really what we ask our partners to do is sign an intent form. And those forms will be available on our website later today or tomorrow. And it's just saying that you're making a commitment to form a team. And on that, we ask if you need financial assistance or scholarship. We do offer partial scholarships. I work with our development team to help us to secure funds to make sure that we offset the cost of tuition for students. We also, during the time that students are with us, provide lunch. And so we don't charge that of students. We actually pay for that. So we have sponsors and funding partners that help us do that. The commitment also is to identify an advisor or that leadership coach who can help us to champion not only the program in the school, but help rally the students, help coach the students through their project and various components of the program. The commitment is 8 months. So we run the program on the school or academic calendar program. So it's September through May. So almost think about it as a civic leader internship, right? Where they meet once or twice a month. This calendar is out, the schedule is preset, and we are organizing as the focus team where we're going, the topics we're going to discuss, and the students come to learn, to talk, to ideate themselves around the solutions and the ways that they can serve. So I hope that that helps. But we definitely have more information, and we have a frequently asked questions section on our website under the Youth Leadership Program that also helps answer some of those other questions. Are there any more? I see Betsy coming off. Yes. Hi, Betsy.
Hi. Sorry I joined late. I couldn't find the link, but the problem that I had last year, I had a student that was really, really interested, and at the last minute, her foster mom decided that she didn't want her to miss school. And so I know that some of the events are during school hours. How did you guys approach that with your teachers and your parents?
Ambassadors, you want to answer? There you go.
Well, my mom, I know she was pretty fine with it, but I know actually I'm speaking for myself, but I can probably speak for all of us here when it's just like communication between myself and my teacher and myself and admin and whoever else I need to be in contact with. I know days that I will have to join into a Zoom meeting or when we had to come in person and or whenever. Like I would just communicate that with my teacher, say, hey, not going to be in class because I'm doing youth leadership. So they either just give me the assignment at that moment or say, don't worry about it until the next class. It's just really all communication with your teacher, because your teacher will understand. It's not necessarily, oh, you're going to miss class and you're just going to miss everything and not be able to catch up. Yeah.
I think also there's an element of where like your teachers in your school want you to succeed. And when they hear about you're doing an awesome program, they're going to be like, that's awesome. You should go do that. And they're going to be excited for you. And I think also to your question earlier, Emily, I would encourage you, like some of the best experiences and opportunities I've engaged in was when I was unsure and didn't really know if I was going to be able to, didn't really know if I had enough time. Like just recently, actually this semester, I'm joining my first production. And Jai is actually the production manager. Stage manager. Yeah. And I was unsure if I really wanted to, and it's like 7.5 hours after school each week. So I was like, whoa, I don't really know if I can do this. But we had our first like run through last night, or read through, and it was really awesome. So I would encourage you just that way, like if you're unsure about it, it's going to stretch you, but it's also probably going to be really good for you.
I love how you all answered that. The other thing I put in the chat, when partners link up with Focus St. Louis, there's an understanding from the partner that any absences that the student has away from school on those days will be excused. And they understand as a partner that they're investing and committing to those students and understand the importance of their attendance. And so so on the side of the partners, there's a commitment from the start that we know that they're going to miss these days. They see the schedule, and then students work through, through their selves negotiating and having that communication with their immediate teachers. But then the advisor is also there to help champion and to help make sure that others understand when they're going to be gone and why. And so there's a collaborative effort in partnering with us so students are not penalized for leaving the school building to have this experience. And again, oftentimes they're able to bring back that experience and use it as a learning, kind of like a teach-in for other students and their teachers about, well, what did you see? What did you hear? What is the perspective that you're able to bring? And so it really is a win-win. But you're right, it does challenge and stretch our students, but that's what life is, right? And so as leaders, what we learn from them is that when we set the bar high, our students have always met or exceeded our expectation. And so we have to start stretching them and let them have these experiences and opportunities now. So any other questions as we get ready to wrap up for today?
Amber had a question, and then Betsy put one in the chat as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of been answered a little bit, but as I'm thinking through students that I think would be a good fit for this program, I just kind of wanted to know, I see that they meet twice a month throughout the school year, but what are the expectations outside of that? So if I have a student athlete, is that going to conflict with them participating in this program? Are there any other expectations out of your normal meeting times?
Let me see if I can, because I want to address two things, right? One is that in the selection of the of participants for this program, not everybody is ready to be in Youth Leadership St. Louis. And so the selection process is very critical. We often say we are looking for students who have the capacity to be great leaders, but they might not be your captain of the football team or the president of the student council. They might be students who have the potential to be captain of the football team or lead your student government organizations. But what's most important is that the student has the ability to fully participate on a regular basis. This is not an outside of a school activity. We work in partnership with our schools. This is not a day off. This is an additional academic experience for these students that the schools typically cannot provide for themselves. And so when they have an opportunity to participate, it is the student's responsibility to like Jai was saying, like Jacob was saying, like Maya has been saying, that I want to have this experience. And so I have to do the things necessary to make it work. That means I need to talk with my teachers. I need to get my assignments. I need to make sure that I do those things. I have to talk to my coaches and tell them when I'm not going to be here, to make sure that they negotiate those relationships so that they can participate and still keep their commitments. We even know as adults that, we have to balance our lives and the different expectations that there are for all of us. And so to answer your question directly, when students are selected, we need to make sure that they have the academic ability to be able to miss school for a day or two. And that they need to make sure that their coaches are in agreement that this is a development opportunity for them so that they won't be punished for participating. Because the expectation is that students will participate in every single activity during the year. Now, we can be flexible, but the expectation is that they participate in all of those activities because there is quite a bit of a commitment. I'm surprised, Shayla, I didn't know that we were only the schools were only paying $500 for each student. That is a drastic decrease in the amount that schools were paying for students in the past. And that is probably because Shayla has been adamant about getting support for our students and easing the burden from schools for the students to participate. But it does cost us about $3,000 a year for every single one of our students to participate in this program. There it is, there's the cost right there. It's $2,900 a student. And the schools are only paying $500 of that. I'm surprised to know that. I didn't know that.
Did we answer your questions adequately about, the concern of, if they're an athlete? Yes, an athlete can participate. It's about the commitment. And so we actually have the schedule on our website for the 23-24 year. And we do that in advance so that students and families and school partners can plan accordingly for the students. Actually, we tend to meet once a month, except in January and February, where we meet twice a month, and that's 2 Saturdays added to the schedule. Other than that, it's one time a month. So we've also streamlined during the pandemic our scheduling and the number of times that we're meeting for various reasons. And so if you check out the schedule, there's probably really about 9 days that we're in contact with students. 2 of them are Saturdays, but they're in the new year so that people can plan in advance to participate. We also try not to schedule days specifically on the ACT test taking day. I did that one year unbeknownst to me. And I'm like, you absolutely must go take the ACT. I am going to excuse everyone. And then the next year, I'm like, that's another thing that I need to plan for, is when are those dates so that it's not a conflict for students, right? And every once in a while, a homecoming might fall on a day where there's day activities. And we're like, we understand that that's also a monumental time. Like, homecoming, prom, those are things that those are milestones in a student's life that if they talk to us in advance, we're also willing to say, you can leave early or, whatever. So there's some flexibility, but our point is the commitment should be made and kept. And we really want students to lean into this experience and get everything out of it that they can. So thank you very much. It sounds like we're needing to log off. We will send the recording to all of those that are here today. Also, the link to the frequently asked questions. I'll send you the calendar. If more things come up for you, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to have a conversation, or if you want me to come do a presentation to your leadership as you're considering this opportunity, I'm more than happy to do so. I will end with this. Just thank you for your time today. We know that leaders know how to invest in other leaders, and we're glad that you made a point to spend a little time learning more about us and our leadership program from our leaders today. So thank you very much.